Hello, everybody. My name is Nick, and welcome to Lode TV. As always, if this is your first time joining us, please feel free to subscribe to our channel as well as check out Lode.one to learn more about how Lode is restoring silver to the monetary system. Tonight, we have joining us a very special guest for the second time since Anarchapulco, renowned author of The Creature from Jekyll Island, as well as the founder of the upcoming Red Pill Expo in Hartford, Connecticut, G. Edward Griffin. Edward, how you doing?
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, Edward, we've seen a lot of economic turmoil coming out of the United States with recent trade wars. How much longer do you feel that the U.S. dollar can maintain its dominance, or is it inevitably bound for collapse?
Well, that's a really good question. Everybody wants to know that, including me. Obviously, no one really knows. I have been expecting the dollar to collapse a long time ago. I thought the bubble had already expanded so far. It couldn't expand any further without bursting, but it has. It just keeps growing. All I know is that I remember when I was just a young fellow going on the speaker tour some years ago, and I was going through some towns in the Midwest, in the country area, and we were talking about inflation and depressions and so forth. And the issue came up was, when is the next depression going to hit? And we got into that big discussion. One of the farmers spoke up, and it was just a typical farmer. I love this guy. He says, well, up here it gets pretty cold every winter, and sometimes we have the big blizzard comes along. And when the blizzard comes along, everything comes to a real stop. And people want to know, when's the next blizzard going to hit? Well, my answer is this. He says, I don't really know when the next one is, but it's coming, and you got to get ready for it. And all of us young guys that were trying to look so smart, trying to come up with intelligent answers of when we thought the depression was going to hit or the crash or so, they kind of put us in our place. We don't really know, but we know it's coming. And so that's kind of my attitude ever since about these things. I think that the reason the American dollar has survived and remained as the currency, the world currency, is mainly because the world is afraid of America. They're afraid of its military. We still have no question about it. Maybe not the strongest economy in the world, but we have the strongest army and military in the world. And any country that dares to go against the economic best interests of the U.S. is tremendously at risk for being declared a rogue country, some country that harbors terrorists or something. The first thing you know, we've got the military invading them and dropping bombs on their cities to get those dirty terrorists and so forth, or some other reason. And I hate to say it because this is my country, but I know that this really goes on. And so I think that as long as we can, and I say we, as long as the United States maintains its absolute military superiority, the dollar will probably do well. But let there be any serious problem in America, like a major bank crisis or some kind of civil disorder, widespread, or bad weather destroys some infrastructure. And I think there are countries out there that are just waiting for Colombia to stumble. And the minute they think that the U.S. is weak or cannot defend itself, this picture could change drastically overnight. Now, that's a pretty pessimistic analysis, but you did ask me. I know I was hoping you would say, how's the weather out there in California or something like that, where you could talk more pleasantly. But the fact of the matter is things do not look good for the U.S. dollar. I don't know when it's going to collapse, but it's coming.
Do you think blockchain technologies like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have the ability to threaten the Fed as well as the power of central banks?
Well, I did in the beginning when I first began to learn about how cryptos work and began to listen to the personal desires of the people who were in the forefront of introducing the currencies. I know they were all anti-establishment in a way. They wanted to break the monopoly grip of the big banks and governmental control and all of that. And so I was very enthusiastic, and I thought maybe this would be it. But as the years have gone by and more information bubbles to the surface, it begins to look like the banks and certainly the governments have been aware of this long before I was, to be sure. And knowing how these people work, they don't just sit around and wait for these developments to unfold and then be swept along by the tide. They jumped into it Some people even think they initiated it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but they certainly did jump into it and have been spending billions of dollars and a lot of manpower trying to make sure that the evolution of cryptocurrencies is very much to their liking. I mean, after all, a cashless society is their dream. And so I'm very concerned that if we're not careful, I don't know what we can do by being careful, but I'm very concerned that this may evolve gradually into another control mechanism just as severe and absolute as fiat currencies.
That's all we have for part one of today's interview with G. Edward Griffin, renowned author of The Creature of Jekyll Island, as well as founder for the Red Pill Expo, coming up on June 7th and 9th in Hartford, Connecticut. If you'd like to check out the Red Pill, highly recommend it at redpillexpo.org. And as always, if this is your first time joining us, please subscribe to our channel, as well as check out Load.one to learn more about the project. That's all for today, guys, and take care.